Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Asia. If you're new here, today's video is going to be a 17 and pregnant life update. Where I'm at now in life, advice I would give to my younger self, advice I would give to girls in my position, similar situations, and I don't know, wherever the conversation goes from there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous for this video just because I don't even know where my thoughts are gonna take me, where this conversation is gonna go. But I did just want to give you guys like a life update because I know a lot of you came to my channel or subscribed or just are returning viewers because of my 17 and pregnant video. So let's just get right into it because but first and foremost, so I did do a two-part series of my 17 and pregnant journey, which was basically just me sharing my journey being pregnant at 17, giving birth at 18, what I went through in that situation, because I feel like that situation really shaped me as not only a mother, a friend, a daughter, but just a human in general. And I definitely think it was one of the more defining moments of my life just because, I don't know, I feel like it just made me perceive the world for what it is, perceive humans for who they are, and I never thought that something like that would happen to me. And to say the least, it was a very it was a situation that just really came in and like rocked my world upside down, and I've never been the same since. It's definitely something that still lingers with me, even though now I'm 26 and I have 2 kids. It just is one of those things that like, it doesn't haunt me at night, but it has definitely made me wary of people, especially men, and I just don't believe anything that anybody has to say to me. So where am I at now in life? That video at that time was me being pregnant with my daughter, who is now 8 years old, and I do have a 1-year-old son with someone else. And you know, for me, y'all, going through that situation, I definitely waited 8, well, technically 7 years, but it was like 8 because she was already 8. But I waited 8 years in hopes that I wasn't going to go through the same thing. Like, I basically took everything that I went through in that situation and just like indicators of who her dad was and the type of person I've had to deal with for the last 8 years, and just like took it all in. And was like, these are all the things I need to avoid. So I really waited that long, even though I always wanted more kids. And I wanted my kids to be closer in age because I was like, I cannot go through that again. Like, that was some of the most, would not recommend it at all. You know what I'm saying? Just because like, I just feel like, I don't know why someone would do somebody like that. Like, I've never done anything to that man, especially at that time in my life. Like, I definitely didn't do anything to him except for get pregnant. That I really just wanted to make sure that when the time came for me to have another child, that I was like, you know what, this is the right decision. I'm doing it with the right person and stuff like that. Happy to report that is the case. Definitely, I overthought the whole situation. Like, you know, I had other boyfriends after my daughter's father, and I just was like, nope. You are not good enough to be the father of my child. So yeah, I waited 8 years. I had another baby. We're currently not together, but he's a great dad. He's a great person. He's one of my closest friends. He might not tell you the same about me. He doesn't want to admit that we're best friends, but that's one of my closest friends. So I definitely feel like when it came to choosing another partner to have a child with, even though we didn't work out, unfortunately, which wasn't our plan, I did just really not want him to be anything like my daughter's dad. So looking back at my 17 and pregnant video, though, the reason I made that video to begin with was because I just really, at that time, I kind of go through life, right? And I'm just like a really easygoing person. If you get to know me, I'm really chill about a lot of things. I'm not like a reactive person in any way, shape, or form. But sometimes I just go through things and things just weigh very heavy on my heart. And when things do weigh very heavy on my heart, I'm like, you know what? I have to do something about this. And usually it's always like, I have to help somebody, or I have to share this story. I have to be vulnerable. I have to be transparent, something along the line. So when I first created my YouTube channel, I was like already making videos, but I wasn't really in the groove of things yet. Like, I didn't know where this was going to go for me. This was not my full-time job at the time. And I don't know. I just was like, you know, if I would have saw a girl like me at that time and just tell me her story rather than tell me you're gonna fail in life, you're never gonna be anything, you're just gonna be like this mom that struggles for her whole entire life, I feel like a lot of things would have changed for me and I wouldn't have been as afraid. And I'm not saying, listen, before we even dive into this video, I am not saying that I support teen pregnancy or that you should have a baby as a teenager. I'm not saying that, okay? However, I do feel like the general idea behind teen pregnancy is just that you cannot be successful. You just are going to be a teen mom, you're going to fail, you're going to drop out of school, and that's just it, your life is over. Whereas if I felt at the time, if somebody just sat me down, was like, if this is really what you want to do and this is what you are adamant about doing and you are not going to give up on life, you're going to be okay. I feel like that definitely would have made a difference for me, and that I wouldn't have stressed out so much. So when I made that series, it wasn't so much so to put my business out there, even though that's what I did, but it was to say, like, like everybody looks at me, they think I have this great amazing life, and then like I have this perfect life, and I was like, and this is things that I'm going on behind closed doors that nobody ever knew about from social media. And not only that, it's just like, I came out on the other side of my teen pregnancy. It was very unfortunate for me to become pregnant at 17, yes, of course, but like I wouldn't change it for the world. And I look at who I am now in my life, and not only do I credit a lot of my success to my daughter because she inspired me so much. Oh, I'm getting emotional. But just because, like for me, like we grew up together. Everything that I've been through, my daughter has been by my side, and it's been vice versa with me and my mother as well, because my mother had me young. So like my mom always was like, don't be like me, don't have a baby young like me, like live your life, see everything the world has to offer. And then when I did the exact opposite, of course my mother was devastated like any parent would be. But now that I'm 26 and we're 8 years later, like I made something out of my situation that I don't think most people believe that is attainable, or they're told that they can attain, which is why I made that story and I put all of that out there, because I wanted to say, like, listen, these were the cards I was dealt, and this is what I did with those cards. This is the hand that I played. I didn't let it define me. Yes, it was a very messed up situation that I went through, but I didn't let it, I'm getting so nervous. I didn't let it become something that it was like, that's it for me, like I could have let that situation destroy me. I really, really could have, especially him as a person. Like I could have, but I didn't. And I just really hoped that the video was going to reach the target audience. Like I didn't know who was going to come across it on YouTube. I didn't know where the video was going to go. I didn't know who was going to consume that information, but I really wanted it to reach the target audience of girls that are teenagers and pregnant, or women that also went through the same things. And it just was like, I'm so happy to hear that somebody else went through the same thing as me, especially considering I put it out there on the internet for free. Well, not technically for free because I get paid off the ads, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's free information. Like anybody could Google me and the video's gonna come up about basically what I went through in my life. And it's one of the most traumatizing things I've ever been through. So for me to put my business out there, it was a very big step. And I also feel like at the time too, it was also like me writing in a diary. A lot of people don't really understand the idea of talking to a camera could be like free therapy, but I don't mind talking to myself, and I can have a full-blown conversation with myself. And putting that out there, I feel like it definitely made me realize things for what they were. It made me put puzzle pieces together that I didn't, and I just realized what the situation was, and like I said, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I honestly wouldn't, especially 17-year-old me. Oh man, poor her, you guys. I just remember back then, and I just remember being devastated, like just devastated for multiple reasons, like going through a pregnancy, 1, by yourself, 2, by somebody that just left you high and dry out of nowhere, 3, being tormented by a third party person in the situation, and then 4, like things coming into concern, like my daughter's health at the time, and just not knowing where my life was going to take me. And I had nothing else to hold on to but the fact that I knew I was not going to let that situation define me. Poor her is all I can say, and I'm not that person anymore. I still make a lot of mistakes and stuff, but I definitely think one of those things, definitely think that was a situation that I learned from. So yeah, I just wanted to share where I'm at now. So basically I do YouTube full time. This is my job, you guys. You guys know I did graduate from college. 4-5 years after my daughter was born, I went to college after I had her, after I graduated high school. I didn't get accepted into my college initially. It was devastating to me when I had her, but I was like, you know what, this is where I want to go. I'm going to go here. I reapplied after I took a year at another school. I got accepted. My acceptance essay, letter, whatever it is you call it, you send it. I actually did it on not being a statistic. It was called statistics, and I basically discussed how once you're pregnant they just tell you that's it, like your life is over. And I did a whole essay on how I refused to be that person, that I was going to attend Drexel University and I was going to graduate top of my class and I was going to make the best of it, and I was going to be a successful person. I got accepted. I graduated with my degree in psychology. And I didn't get like the full college experience, you know, but I definitely enjoyed my time learning. I love learning. And it was one of those things that I just felt like I didn't get the full experience because I was a teen mom. I went to class, I went home to my kid, and when my kid went to sleep, I was up studying. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was never like, oh, go to the library and lollygag, oh, go to the parties and stuff. No, I went to class, I went home, put my daughter to sleep, and stayed up to like 4 or 5 o'clock studying for like finals and stuff. At the time when my daughter was young, I was just very reliant on my mother, and luckily I did have her to fall back on. And I know a lot of people in that situation, they're not going to have that same support, which I completely 100% understand, and I do not for 1 second take it for granted that I had that type of support. But very, very blessed that I did, because wow, I don't know where I would have been if it wasn't for my mom. And then I think like after maybe 6 months to a year of working, I just decided, I don't even want to say a year, I want to say less than 6 months. I was like, you know what, I'm finally going to start YouTube. I've been saying this for years. I was like, it's going to work out for me. I was like, I'm funny. I was like, I'm crafty. I was like, I'm just an easygoing person. I was like, you know, it's going to work out. I was like, I've always done well on social media. Like, and I just went right in, you know. I was like, it has no choice but to work for me. Like, I have to make it work for me. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to stay home with my daughter. I don't want to miss any part of her life. I want to be the one that watches her. I don't want to have to call people that I don't even trust to watch my kid. So I started YouTube, and honestly, guys, I started making money off YouTube fairly quickly. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. That's not going to be everybody's story when it comes to turning YouTube into a job. But yeah, literally thank you to everybody that has ever watched me since the beginning, because I want to say after like 3 months of filming, I started making money, and I started making enough money that I could support me and her, like the minimum things. And then after like 8 months to a year, I was enough to support us more than I ever would have imagined. Like, I went from me needing people and not knowing what like my next step was outside of my mom, to just me being able to care for my daughter full time by myself 100% and give her everything that she could like ever desire. You know, like, life doesn't revolve around like those materialistic things. It's just that, like, you know, going from a situation where I had to ask somebody to buy diapers and formula and wipes, and then not needing that, it was kind of just like, it happened in like a blink of an eye. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it was just really crazy to say. Not everybody's story is gonna, you know, work out that quickly, but everybody's story is gonna work out in your favor. Like, it has no choice. You have to believe in that. But being 17 and pregnant, man, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I still could cry about it to this day, because, you know, like, even though I'm over the situation, basically, like, okay, it happened to me. It is what it is. My daughter's 8 now. Like, I'm not mad about the situation. I don't dwell on it, but sometimes I don't understand why it happened to me. You know how, like, you get in situations in life where, like, somebody close to you dies and you're like, why me? That's one of those situations in my life. There's probably like 3 or 4 situations in my life where I just was like, I don't understand what I did to deserve that back, and that's definitely one of them, and it was definitely like the first one. It's just because, you know, like, it's a very sucky experience to have. Like, bringing life into this world is such an amazing thing that, like, you know, and not everyone's blessed to do it, and not everyone's blessed to do it easily. You know, we're talking about, like, in terms of just getting pregnant easily and having a healthy, easy pregnancy, and then giving birth, you know, like, without complications. Like, not everyone has that story. So it's like, even though those are the blessings that I did have, I just be like, damn, I would have loved to just have that experience that you see other people have, you know, just having a supportive partner at the time. And that just was not how that story unfolded. And, you know, looking back, I just realized it wasn't me. But it's like, you know, looking back at my life and looking back at 18-year-old Asia raising a baby, and, you know, I think when people think that I say that, like, my mom was there every step of the way, that it was like I didn't have to be a mom. People think that because I lived with my mom and, like, I wasn't taking care of my child financially, is that I didn't have the burden of taking care of my child. But, like, y'all, literally once we got home from the hospital, I was mom and dad. Like, you know, my mom worked a full-time job. My mom was barely ever home because she was at work. Like, it was stressful. It was tiring. It was exhausting. It was hard. Like, it's the first thing from easy to raise a child, especially by yourself. I see people all the time complaining, like, when they're, like, in a 2-parent household, like, oh my God, we're so tired. Imagine doing it by yourself, okay? Imagine it's only you. You can't roll over and be like, oh, babe, get the baby. No, there is none of that, okay? Just me, 18-year-old me. Life not over, but like couldn't do anything. Couldn't go out with my friends when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no just drop and leave the house. Like, I've never, not once to this day, experienced the feeling of being able to just go, oh, y'all want to go to DC tomorrow? Bet. You want to drive to New York right now? I'm getting ready. I don't know how that feels. I literally don't know what it feels like to be just a young woman that has no responsibilities, because ever since I was a child, I had them because I got pregnant as a child, you know. And for me, I had to grow up very, very quickly. And I wouldn't change it for the world, though. This is the thing. I wouldn't change it for the world, because once you experience the love of a child, of loving your child and the love that they give you back, oh man, it's like the purest thing ever. I could never do no wrong in my daughter's eyes. And those of you guys that watch the vlogs and you've seen her over the last couple years, she's just like she's like the sweetest little freaking kid ever. She's so amazing. And sometimes I just look at her and I'm just like, I might have not did a lot of great things in my life, but she is one thing that I did right. Okay, like she is literally an exceptional human. Like I've never seen someone be like so kind and so loving and so nurturing and just like so positive about the world. I get it, she's a kid, but not in a kid way. Like she's just kind to just people in general, you know. Like there've been so many instances where her true character has just come out and I'm just like, I did this right, you know. Like I messed up a lot of things in my life, but how I raised her was right. Not even me having her, how I raised her, because everything that my daughter is because of me. Nobody else gets to take that credit for the characteristics that my daughter has, how polite she is, how nice she is, how well kept she is. It's all because of me. I did that day in and day out, 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like no one could take that from me. And I look at her and I'm just like, dag, you know, like for that to have been like such a crappy situation in my life, to see the type of person she is very rewarding, because I would have never guessed, sorry if you hear Enzo, I would have never guessed that she was going to be such an amazing human. And she's only 8, which I just know, like, if she's already that amazing, like, my kid is going to be, like, the one that changes things in the world, you know, like, just her perspective on life in general. Like, we just sit sometimes and we just chat about things. And I'm just like, wow, that's really impressive, Harper. She's like, thanks, Mom. She's like, I get it from you. And like, she'll tell you, you know, like, I listen to you talk sometimes. And like, she'll tell you she just notices that I'm just nice to everybody. I don't treat people differently. I always give to people. And I don't stress like materialistic things to her, even though like we live in that day and age where that's all things are about. Like, I just make her understand like the idea of being nice to people is the best thing you could ever do. It's of the highest value. Like, nothing in this world matters, but when people talk about your character and how good of a person you are, how good of a friend you are, that's really what holds weight. You know what I'm saying? So she makes me so proud, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. And having a son now is completely different. He's only 1, so you know, we don't really know his personality yet, but so far he acts just like a Cancer. He is a Cancer, but oh my stars, y'all, when I tell y'all, stresses me out. Harper is an Aries like me, so I feel like I understand Harper on a deeper level. But Enzo, man, very, very emotional. I kind of know how to deal with Cancers because my ex-boyfriend was a Cancer. Very loving people, but man, he stresses me out. I'm just like, why you just can't chill sometimes, you know? Like, me and Harper just very laid back people, you know, like when we want to turn up, we're gonna turn up, but when we don't, we don't. And he is just, no, I'm finna turn up 24/7. So yeah, having a Cancer in Aries is very, very interesting. But you know, I feel like a lot of people understand my gist as a parent, but also my children that watch the vlog. So if you're kind of curious in like the background story of like our day-to-day life and just how I handle it all, check out the vlogs, which is called Sundays, by the way. But yeah, guys, you know, who's calling me? 856. Who's calling me from New Jersey? I don't know. But you know, one of those things about teen pregnancy that I really just always want to stress over and over is that just because they say you can't do this and you can't do that, and all the numbers are against you, and all the articles on Google are against you, and everybody might give you like a little bit of a side eye when you tell them, oh yeah, I was born this year and it was only a couple years ago and you're a parent already. You know, like, it does hurt, and it does hurt to be judged in that situation, because you almost feel like you're less than, like, you feel like you're not good enough to be a mother just because you're younger. But let me tell you one thing, okay? It was time for me to be responsible. I stepped up to it, okay? There was no slacking for me. And, you know, like, I know that's not the case for everybody, but, like, let's be for real, y'all. Some people get pregnant at 17 and aren't mothers. Some people get pregnant at 17 and are. And some people get pregnant at 28 and 30 and just be like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't feel like age has anything to do with it, you know? Like, and I feel like I've always been, like, just a nurturing person in general. Like, and it was like, even though I didn't see myself having a child at 17, like, it wasn't planned. Like, I didn't expect in my life to go there, where I wanted to go to NYU before I had Harper. I wanted to go to the University of Miami. Like, I wanted to live this big grand life of just experiencing things without my mom, and like just friends, and like starting over and stuff. That when I got pregnant, all of it ended for me. Like, all of those big wishes and dreams that I had to just do these things and just travel, none of it existed the second that I got pregnant and decided to keep my child. And yeah, I could have easily took the way out, but at the time when I got pregnant, you know, in my heart, I knew it wasn't the right thing to do. And if you've ever been pregnant, you've ever been in that situation, you're going to know when it's time for you to have that child. Like, my daughter was sent to me for a reason. I don't take it for granted for a second. Like, I would never change having my child. Would I change how the situation unraveled? 100%, because I don't think I deserved it. I don't think any person deserves to be treated that way, honestly. I don't think that, especially a 17-year-old girl, deserves to be treated that way. And again, I never did anything to the person, but I wouldn't change it because I got my daughter out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, just looking back, I just go, oh yeah, like, poor Asia. But like, I don't look at my daughter and I'm just like, I wouldn't change you for the world, kid. Like, nothing about you, you know? Like, if I had to get you out of a really crappy situation and raise you by myself for another 8 years, so be it. That's what I'm gonna do, because I don't feel like she was the wrong decision, if that makes sense. And, you know, it's just one of those things that I just feel like no one can say I'm a bad mom. And even if people did, I wouldn't care, because I'm not a bad mom. And I know that about myself, you know. Like, I've been a mom since the day I found out I was pregnant. Literally, I've always took care of my responsibility. I never not once woke up and was like, I don't feel good, I'm not being a mom today, or I don't feel like taking care of her, I want to spend all my money on me. I never had the option to do that, you know what I'm saying? And then I look at my daughter, she just admires me so much, y'all. It's the sweetest darn thing how she admires me. And I'm just like, I'm not perfect, but in her eyes I am, you know? Like, to her, I could do nothing wrong. And I just feel like it's like the most rewarding thing as a parent. It's just, you get this unconditional love that you just didn't know was coming. And until you have kids, you don't know what that feels like. Because even at some point, you know, like, your parents would just switch up on you, and your friends, and just family in general. But man, when you have kids, oh, they're gonna go to war for you. And they just no, that's my mom, that's my mother. I love my mom to death. So yeah, I don't know why I'm like getting emotional. Anytime I talk about my kids, I get emotional, because, you know, it's just one of those things that I'm just like, I love my kids to death. I really, really do, y'all. Everybody says it. It's so cliche to just say I love my kids to death, but like, it's not much that you could say that will ever get me started. But talking about my kids, man, don't even go there, you know? Like, having a negative energy toward my kids, or just doing something shady, or just something that I would never do in regards to my kids, you will see a whole different side of me. And I just feel like that's moms in general. It's just like the mama bear comes out, you know? But yeah, like, now that I have 2 kids, and like, I am blessed enough that I get to sit home with them every single day. I get to take my daughter to school. I get to pick my daughter up from school. I get to sit here and just not miss not a single milestone of my sons. It's just, I'm very, very blessed, very, very fortunate, very, very thankful, not only for my persistence to be successful in life and just all the statistics define me, but also just for you guys. I say it all the time, and I probably haven't said it in a while, but, you know, like, I don't take it for granted that I got on this platform and I shared a very traumatic experience in my life and I opened up about something that I probably shouldn't have, and it did hurt a lot of people at the time, but I don't care, because like it's my story to tell. I did it because I want girls to know that are like currently in the same shoes that I was, maybe in a past life, in a past situation. It's okay. It's not anything to be ashamed of, you know. And people look at me on social media like, oh my gosh, nothing like that will ever happen to you. Girl, I done been through some things, okay, and I talk about it a lot. I've been through that. I done had to bury a boyfriend. Like, you know, it's just, for me, you can never look at somebody and just think that stuff like this doesn't happen to people, because it happened to me and I went through it and I came out on the other side and I didn't let it define me, and can't nobody say nothing bad about me. I mean, you know, people say bad things about me. I can put some screenshots right here, but nothing that makes me lose sleep at night. Like, nothing that matters to me, because at the end of the day, I take care of my responsibilities, and I've always have. And, you know, like, just when it comes to parenting in general, I just feel like at that time, looking back, I would have never knew this was going to be me. You know, like, I would have never thought that I was going to sit down in front of a camera and record a video of me crying and just sharing my story. And that, to this day, y'all, to this day, girls would DM me paragraphs just saying, you know, like, I'm currently in a similar situation, or I'm this old and I'm pregnant, I don't know what to do. And I just feel like I created a safe space to discuss things that people don't want to talk about, and that's being pregnant at a young age. Like, it's not an embarrassing thing. Like, as long as you're willing to like take care of your responsibility and stuff, I don't see a problem with it. But I don't promote it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm never gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, go get pregnant at 16, 17, whatever, yada yada yada, it's not your problem. I'm never gonna promote that, because listen, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're a young girl that's watching this, you know, I just want you to take something away from this video, and that's just get to know yourself. See everything the world has to offer you. Like, there's so much the world has to offer outside of your hometown and just your day-to-day life that you think that nothing else exists outside of that. You know, like, get to know yourself, get to know what you want out of life, get to know the type of lifestyle you want to live, get to know the things that you just feel like bring you joy, what kind of hobbies you like, you know. I say that it's just because, like, I experienced things after the fact of having Harper that I never even thought about pre-Harper, if that makes sense. You know, like, just traveling the world and just having possessions and doing things and having experiences. The type of men that I like now is completely different than back then. Like, I would never in my life, not once, deal with a guy like the guys I dealt with back then. It's just because I took the time to really get to know myself. It's because I grew up. Like, I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm a grown woman. 18-year-old me is nothing like 26-year-old me. Even if I didn't have kids, I don't think I would still be the same person. Like, I just don't even see the attraction in the same type of men from back then. The lifestyle, what I was really rushing to do outside, none of it like does anything for me, if I'm being honest. And, you know, that just comes with growth, and that just comes with your interests changing and you changing as a person. Like, just really get to know yourself and what you want out of life, and just sit down and just, you know, make a vision board. Like, what do I want for myself? If I had to make long-term goals, what would they consist of? What do I have to do to get them? But on to another part of it, if I had to sit down and talk to 17-year-old me, or even 17-year-old anybody just in the world, you know, I just would really say, you know, like, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be okay in that exact moment, but it is. And, you know, it's easier said than done. You're not going to feel like that in that exact moment. There was times that I wanted to just not wake up, you know, like, and I just remember just being so hurt that I thought that, like, my daughter was going to feel my hurt through me being pregnant, like, through my body, you know. Like, it was a lot of times that I cried so hard that I just felt so bad. And I know I'm not the only one that has experienced that, but it's just like, if I really could talk to myself back then, I would really just hug her and just say, it's gonna be okay. Like, you know, it's not gonna be okay a day from now, a month from now, not even maybe a year from now, but it will be, you know, like, when the time is right, and when you just really work through it and you get to know yourself, and you just sit there and you just prioritize being a mom and your responsibilities. Because I just remember just being like, why? Like, why me? You know, like, what did I do for this? Like, I didn't understand at the time. And, you know, like I said, I would change the situation if I could, but I can't. So, like, I don't dwell on it. I'm like, it happened to me. Like, it's just something that's a part of my story. And if I were to sit here and write a book, a lot of things that are very unfortunate that I wouldn't wish on anybody did happen to me, and that's okay. I just feel like that's life in general for anybody walking this earth. Like, we have all experienced things that we just feel like are so terrible and so unfair, and it starts from like when you're a child until you're an adult, and you just realize that it's okay to go through things, and it's okay to be put into situations where you're just like, I don't know how I overcome this, and I don't see the way out. I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel or anything like that. And, you know, parenting is hard. Parenting is hard no matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager, a young woman, an older woman. It doesn't matter. Parenting is hard. Raising a human is a hard job within itself, because you are literally raising the next generation when we no longer walk this earth. The type of people that we don't know that the world needs are the type of people that the world don't need at all. We're raising them. And I would just really hug younger me, y'all. I really, really would, because wow, I needed a hug back then. And I just feel like, you know, just sitting here and just remembering like the pain that I felt was very, very life defining. And I would really just tell 17-year-old me that it's gonna be okay, and that you just have to ride it out and just be a great mom, and just teach your child to be the type of person that the world needs, no matter what. No matter how angry I was, no matter how hurt I was, I wanted to make sure that I raised my daughter to be the person that the world needs. So yeah, I would have really hugged her though, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wish I could go back and hug her, because she deserves a hug. She deserves love. She deserves grace. And she just deserves somebody to just be like, you know what? You did that, babes. So that's sad, but it's okay. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little life update, just chatting with me. Sorry I got a little emotional. You know, my kids is my little sensitive top. I love my little boos to death. They really are the best things that ever happened to me, and my biggest reward in life is that I have them, but also that I can provide for them, and that I'm here with them every single day thanks to you guys in this job. So I don't take it for granted. Like I said, literally, thank you guys so much. If you're here since my 17 and pregnant story part 1, use a real one. I probably owe a lot of my success on YouTube to you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I know it's kind of crazy that, you know, like, I just put all my business out there, but it's like, what are you supposed to do on the tube? Act like life is perfect when it's not? No. You know, but if you are a teen and you're pregnant right now and you are deciding to have your child, you're not the only one. Let me just tell you, you're not the only one. There are literally thousands, if not millions, of us that have been in a situation where we felt like we didn't know how the situation was going to unravel. And, you know, I just feel like people don't want to talk about it, and people just act like it's not happening. But just know, as long as you have the intentions of it being okay, it's going to be okay. And for those of you that are just like me, 26 or older, maybe even a couple years younger, and you had a baby as a teen as well, and you're just like, you know, I wish I could share my story, I really advise you to, because I get people telling me all the time that my story really made a difference to them, and just hearing me sit there and just vent. I really do advise you to share your story, whether it be in form of YouTube, a blog post, an Instagram post, or even a Facebook post, like whatever it is. I advise you to share it, just because you never know who needs to read it, listen to it, hear it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was pretty much it. I have no idea where this conversation went, child, because my nose is running, first of all, because I was crying. But it probably was a little bit all over the place. It probably wasn't a fluid conversation. It probably wasn't a fluid conversation, but that's okay. We love a little rant. So yeah, if you guys want me to do like a Q&A where you guys ask me like specific questions, let me know. I could definitely do that, like, just to end out this series. If you're new here, don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.